If a loved one has recently died, then it is important to have an understanding of how the Florida probate process works. This can be a complicated process during a difficult time, which is why it is important to know what you are in store for, as well as what you should do. The first thing you should know is over what areas probate law has jurisdiction. The basic concept here is that any assets that were not assigned in a legal will before the death of the person will go to probate. With this, there are certain assets that can be used and some that cannot. For instance, a bank account that was solely in the deceased's name is subject to probate, as well as a life insurance policy or annuity that was in the name of the estate rather than having a listed beneficiary. The most common asset for probate is real estate that was in the sole name of the deceased. The thing to keep in mind is the hierarchy of the probate process for figuring out to whom the assets belong. The probate administration will look at the surviving heirs first. The first person that will be entitled to the assets is the surviving spouse, if any. However, if the deceased also has a child who is not from the current spouse, then the assets will be divided equally among them. When there is no spouse but only children, the assets will be divided among the children. For those with no children, the assets will go to the parents or siblings if they are still alive. If none of these heirs can be located, the courts will try to find another heir in the family to receive the assets. It is important to note that if you feel you are entitled to the assets of a loved one that were not assigned in a will, then the best thing to do is to find a probate attorney. They have the best knowledge of how the process works and can tell you what to expect. You may also want to have an attorney if you feel that you will be charged with any debts that your loved one had at their death, as this is another aspect with which probate deals. Before handing out the assets, though, the probate court will first make sure that all debts of the deceased are handled. This may be handled in a number of ways, including selling certain assets. This is why it is important to have an attorney if you are looking for a certain asset that the deceased had. The attorney knows the appropriate way to approach this and can help from having the asset you want taken away. If you were named executor of the will, you may be called as the personal representative for the probate process. It is important that you have an attorney for this aspect of the process, as this can be a complicated process that is hard to navigate without legal counsel. The Fort Lauderdale-based attorneys at Wild Felice & Partners offer estate planning, asset protection, probate administration, and wealth transfer protection to residents of Broward County, Palm Beach County, and Miami-Dade County, Florida. Call Wild Felice & Partners at 954-944-2855 or visit our website for more in-depth information by clicking the link below or typing wfplaw.com into your browser.